October 6th through the 9th, I am hosting the Be You Women's Retreat, and I want you there. Listen, if you need a getaway, but not only a getaway, a refresh, a restart, a renewal, so that you can tap into the woman you was created to be, you need to be at this retreat. Go to my website right now at berrythoughtfullife.com, click on retreat, and book your room. I can't wait to see you there. If you're new to me, I am Kenisha Berry with berrythoughtfullife.com. So welcome to my Berry Thoughtful world. And today, considering it is one day before Valentine's Day, and I've been told that people are triggered by that day. So if you're that person, please forgive me. But here's what I want to invite you to. I want to invite you today to establish for yourself new relationship goals. Now, oftentimes we talk about relationships, we're talking about people in marriage, partnership together. I also think that the same rules apply to family, friends. But for today we're going to focus on marriage, partnership, relationships. Now, I've been married for 25 years, and I like to always remind people or let people know that not only am I married for 25 years, I really like my husband, and he likes me too. So we have a good time together. So after 30 years together, um, we still enjoy each other. And it's only because we've done the work. So I know that there's statistics that talk about like 50% of marriages end in divorce. I always like to focus on the 50 that stay together. And I think everybody wants a good, loving, healthy relationship. However, relationships are not easy. And I don't believe they were supposed to be. I think we model our marriages and our relationships based on TV values instead of real life values. So if you're new to me, I am a God girl. That means that I read the Bible and I believe what it says. I trust it. I find it to be a very reliable book. And so I'm going to come to you with some concepts that I believe has made my marriage work for 25 years, and also that I teach my clients who come to me with relationship issues. One, first and foremost, relationships are really created for wholeness, not happiness. I want you to hold on to that thought. Relationships are truly created for wholeness, not happiness. The problem is we stay in relationships trying to get happy. And when the happy doesn't come, we end the relationship thinking, must be the wrong person, the wrong one. And when I find the right one, they're going to make me happy. Happy is a byproduct of wholeness. So what do I mean? How do I get whole? We all show up into relationships wounded soldiers, right? Life has made it so that we have hurts and wounds from our past. Those wounds are called soul wounds. If you're in therapy, they call it trauma. But I like to call it a wound because a wound you can find a way to bandage and heal that thing. Trauma feels overwhelming, and different people experience trauma differently. But when you understand that you have an emotional wound, emotional belief about yourself, that until you address it, your partner, the people you're in a relationship with, is only going to constantly bump that up for you. So, for instance, in my marriage, my soul wound is rejection. So for years in my marriage, I always felt rejected by my husband. Didn't mean he was doing things to reject me. It was just the way I was perceiving it. Therefore, when I didn't understand that the goal was wholeness, I was doing everything and pushing him, trying to make him, not to make me feel that way. My emotions are not his responsibility. Another thing, nugget, you need to write that down. Your emotions are not your partner's responsibility. And he said that again. Your emotions are not your partner's responsibility. So when you say things like, you make me feel, no, that means there's an area in your life that you need to start working on for healing, because what they've done is triggered a thought or belief that you already have, and now it's showing up and you don't know what to do with it. That's your job. So when you begin to this level of relationship goals, game changer. Second thing I want you to start working on in your beliefs of relationship goals, I need you to learn to move from a me mindset to a we mindset. And that one can be pretty challenging because, again, if you enter into relationships wanting to be happy, who are you thinking about? You're thinking about you, because I want to be happy. And this is what it takes for me to be happy. That's a me mindset. A we mindset says, what would it take for us to be whole, that the byproduct is happiness? So I encourage couples to get in relationships and decide what are your goals, and get real about your goals for being willing to grow. Are you willing to emotionally mature in the relationship? Are you willing to use a different way of communicating so that you hear different, so that you speak differently? And a lot of times people we don't do it, we're not taught it, and we don't go out our way to learn it. So recently I've been working with a group of ladies, and I'm sharing with them that in order for you to change, in order for a real revelation to happen in your life, you need a new thought, a new method, a new strategy. What is happening is we have our set ways, patterns, mind patterns, and we think that our way is the best way. We think we know what's best. If you did things this way, it'll work. Let me ask you this question. The concept that you're holding on to, is it working for anyone you know personally? Because if it's a made up concept, you're gonna need some made up people for it to work. I'm just saying. Sometimes we hold on to these expectations that are unrealistic. So I'm asking you, and I'm not asking you the concept you hold on to. Well, my mom and dad been married for X amount of years, and I've seen them do this. Have the conversation with them. Get the behind the scene as to why you're perceiving this is working, because it's the behind the scene work that makes a relationship work. It is not the stuff that people project and see and go, oh, well, my parents live happily ever after. No, no, no. It's a lot of work that goes into this. So I want you to move from a me mindset to a we mindset. And the way you do that is you start thinking about, how can I serve my partner? And then you get clear about what does it take to serve you, and you learn to communicate that. You do not project expectations. Well, you should know by now. You should know. Again, Andre and I have been married for 25 years, been together for almost 30. And there's still some stuff that I just don't know until he tells me. And like saying, because we're ever changing, ever evolving. And you should be changing and you should be evolving. And if you're not, that's going to become a problem in your relationships. So I need to know that you guys are getting this. Is this registering? Is this making you rethink the way you're doing relationships? Are you willing to renegotiate your relationship goals so that you can learn to move out of the I want to be happy to I want to be whole, and happiness becoming a byproduct of that? And so the third thing I want to encourage you to do, learn to communicate from your emotional needs and not your emotional wounds. That's good. If you guys are getting this, that right there, I just dropped on you some real jewels. Learn to communicate from your emotional needs and not your emotional wounds. So we all have the emotional wounds. That's what we talked about earlier, and I was talking about in therapy, they call it trauma. What has happened to you in your past that has created for you a thought or belief about yourself that shows up every single time? And if you haven't figured out what that is, that's part of the problem, because you're still operating from the wound. The wound is showing up trying to get attention. Your emotional wound, it's like a 3-year-old kid that you can't control, that throws tantrums, that lose their mind, that pout. Maybe your 3-year-old shuts down and don't talk. I ain't gonna talk to you for 2 days, 2 weeks. That's your emotional wound. That is not your adult, mature self. So learn to communicate from your need. Your needs are, I need to feel safe. I need to feel validated and secure. I need to feel like I matter. I need to feel like you hear me. I need to feel seen. I need to feel connected. I need to feel love. Do you hear the difference? So when you're communicating your needs, and I promise you, when you learn to communicate your emotional needs and learn to communicate from the emotional need and not from the wound, the conversation changes. That's real relationship goals. So listen, if you're the person watching this and you're thinking, I don't even know what Kenisha's talking about. What are these emotional wounds? What is this, my emotional needs? How do I communicate it? But what I do know, because maybe you don't know that language, but maybe what you do know is my marriage isn't working. My relationships are always falling apart. I seem to meet the wrong people. I promise you that is happening because of your mind patterns, your me mindset instead of your we mindset. And all of this can be resolved with just you, because here's why you do the work. When you do the work and you learn the language and you first learn to communicate better with you, Plain and simple. You got to know how to communicate with you. What is it that you need? What is it that you want? What is it that brings you joy? Not happy, joy, different. When you know how to communicate that with yourself for yourself, then you learn how to communicate it with someone else and not with a motive of expectations. If you don't do this, then I'm not going to do that. That's manipulation. That is not communication. When you learn the difference, when you really learn you from a perspective of, I'm so clear about my values that when I see and meet the person who is out of alignment with my values, I'm so clear about it that I know not to connect myself to them. Because what you cannot do is get someone to match your values if you don't have the same values. And the other thing that we do in relationships, and I pray one day you all learn to get it out your vocabulary. Stop using benefit of the doubt as an indicator. Benefit of the doubt. The moment you tell yourself, well, I see all the red flags. I know this doesn't seem right, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Doubt means don't. You just broke your own violation. You just went against your own values. And now you're mad with them because they're not living up to your expectations. They never was going to, and you knew it because you had to give them the benefit of the doubt to be in a relationship with them. So listen, I'm always tickled by the whole notion of benefit of the doubt. Think about the words, think about the language. Benefit of the doubt. There is no benefit in doubt. Doubt means don't, period. So I hope this helped you. I hope you are willing to grow and mature and change your relationship goals. And I'm going to give you a quick, go back over them real quick. So for the person who counted at the end, one, I want you to change your meaning in your relationships from happiness to wholeness. Happiness is a byproduct of wholeness. That means that your relationships are created to help you heal from your childlike trauma. Two, move from a me mindset to a we mindset. When I can start thinking more about the other person, the person I'm in a relationship, what is it they need? How can I be a support to them? Again, you're not responsible for their emotions. That's their job, and they're not responsible for yours. But you can move into the we mindset of thinking, how does this work for us, not just me? And then lastly, learn to communicate from your emotional needs and not your emotional wounds. And if you can get that, baby, that's a game changer. Communicate from your emotional needs and not your emotional wounds. And your wounds look like childlike behavior. It pouts, it whines, it cries, it screams, it shuts people off, it quiets down, it shut off, it won't talk. I ain't gonna talk to you for 2 days. That's a childlike moment. That's communicating from your wounds and not your needs. And therefore, you cannot produce real love from that level. So listen, if you need my help, if you're thinking, wow, maybe I might need some work with this, reach out to me, verythoughtfullife.com. You can find my link in my bio here on Instagram and on Facebook and YouTube. It's all listed. You guys can book a free consultation with me, but stay connected because I want to see people win in their marriages and in their relationships in 2023. And the only thing it takes is a new mindset shift, a new way of setting your goals. And I promise you, with clarity, you can hit them. Have an amazing, blessed day, and I can't wait to hear from you. So leave some comments. Let me know what you're thinking. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.